Hey guys, so as promised, we're going to go ahead and go over brush creations as well as custom shape creations. So first I'm going to walk you through a few brushes that I use. Just, very basic ones. So the first up is the basic round. You guys saw that used a few times, mainly in my sketching. It's literally a basic round brush that we have with transfer turned on to pen pressure, and spacing and hardness have just been tweaked to these values. On top of that, there's a soft airbrush. Once again, we don't use this for gradients, we just use it to break up the edge. And that is the same thing, except this time hardness is all the way turned down to 0, and we have pen pressure control in both flow and opacity. So up next is the silhouette brush. This can pretty much be whatever you want it to be. For example, we can even go back to our basic round brush, take off transfer, and we have a silhouette brush. We can squish it, and now you can have it doing some variety of lines. Add a little bit of a shape dynamic, and now you have pressure. And something like this works completely well for what we're trying to do. You can also turn your angle jitter. If you have a Wacom art pen, you probably already know how to add rotation. This is me literally just rotating the pen in my hand. And then for those of you without, you can try pen tilt. So as you tilt the pen, it kind of works as a paintbrush works. So you tilt it down, goes down. So as you can see, the silhouette brush I had was just a little bit different from this. Really similar. And essentially how that was created was by grabbing one of these simple chalk brushes. And then I kind of just played with it a little bit. This type of stuff isn't, fully necessary in my opinion. It was just a brush that I happened to stumble upon. And it worked really well for what I wanted it to do. Alright, so let's see what something like that will give us. There is a lot of edge noise. I'm not sure what we're going to get, but let's try it. So for this, I crop around the area. Definitely don't need it that big. Let's try something like 150. And I go to Edit Define Brush Preset. So when that happens, it adds the brush to the very bottom for you, and it's rather raw. So the first thing that I like to do is take spacing down. Depending on the performance of your machine, you can try something like 10, or you can try something like 1 if you have a stronger machine. I'll add basically my shape dynamics, which size jitters controlled by pen pressure. So if I push light or hard, it controls that. For me, since I have the art pen, I use rotation. And roundness jitter will turn off. And I like brush projection on as well as smoothing. So it's not too bad of a pen, or of a brush. Let's see what happens when we put roundness jitter back on. Doesn't do too much. It looks like it mainly just at the light pressure areas, it kind of gives it like a little fade. Just a little bit. So now you can use this brush however you want. Thin lines, thick lines, And if this is something that's a little hard to control for you, then definitely feel free to just keep the round brush or even make a square brush. So that's brushes. Now let's cover custom shape tools. So I go to Google, I type in tree PNG, and you stumble upon all of this. Maybe we want something such as that. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this over to Photoshop. And what you're going to notice for CS6 is if it's a PNG, it comes out with a black background. And that's rather annoying. I'm not sure if any of you guys have a fix for that. If you do, let me know. It's one of the most annoying things in the world. I'm sure it's been fixed on CC. But my workaround is I'll throw it onto my desktop and then I can bring it in as a PNG. We will delete this. Let's crop in on it again. Gonna resize this to, maybe 1,000. But this time, what I do is I want to extract just the main information from it. So I'm gonna apply a threshold onto this and kind of find what I want my shape silhouette to be. It gets a little noisy right there. I don't want to have that. Plus that's going to be thousands of little points it's going to have to calculate. So I'm going to get that, a nice clean silhouette. I'm going to go to channels, make a selection of any one of these. Go to paths, and right over here, let me hover over it to see, it's called make work path from selection. We'll do that, edit, define custom shape, and voila, we found out an error what not to do. And that is when I made my selection, you select the whites. So let's do Control I to invert this on a channel. So we'll delete the path. We'll grab one of these, Control Shift I will invert our selection. So now when we make it, you can see that black silhouette is the tree. Edit, define custom shape, shape 508. Alright. So what happens then is you just go into your shape tool, you have it under custom shape, you grab your tool, I have mine on pixels, and then you can make big trees, squish trees, all types of trees. So I'll use that just so I don't have to go in there and render out some leaves as you saw me doing the demo. If you're watching this before the demo, then you haven't seen that yet. You'll see it very soon. But that is how I create both brushes and shapes. Hopefully that was useful to those of you that didn't know how to go about this. Feel free to give any, give us an email with any questions you may have. Thanks.